If you're tired of the misinformation, the rhetoric, and the outright lies coming at you from both sides of the aisle, then you're in the right place. You've found the last bastion of freedom, truth, and intelligence available in what's become a crazy, over-politically correct world. A place where facts will always triumph over conjecture, and the lies told to us on a daily basis are revealed. This is Voices of Dissent.
Good morning. We are live here in an undisclosed location broadcasting from a bunker. This is Justin Mckinsey, joined by Marc Jernigan, Melissa Smith, and John Olinger. And just a little quick intro. We'll talk to Melissa more later, but Melissa Smith is filling in for Rick Runstead today, and she brings a host of knowledge about history and where our country is today. We'll introduce her more later, but right now on the phone, we are very excited to have our guest Kamal Saleem, and he has a great story, a very inspiring story. He was he attended a PLO terrorist assault camp in Lebanon at the age of 7, and since then his life has just been a roller coaster. You can find more information about him at coomministries.com. He's also on Twitter at Coom Ministries. He's also written a book recently called The Coalition, which you can find at on Amazon.com and anywhere that good books are sold. Thank you for joining us, Kamal. It is a pleasure to have you on the air today.
It's good morning, and it's a pleasure being with you, too. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, tell us a little bit about your story. At 7 years old, you were recruited to join a terrorist organization. What was that like? Many of us here in America just can't even comprehend what it's like to be 7 years old and to have that type of decision thrust upon you.
Well, before the recruitment by the PLO, we need to understand that, my childhood is, I was prompted by my mother, who told me that I will die for the sake of Allah, as a martyr. And my mother told me, it was the teaching of my mother on my dining room table, right there in the kitchen, which is on the floor. Right there, she told me, it is our duty, it's our call to kill the Jews and the Christians and liberate the world, and to bring, one world of Islam, which is called Ummah, for, just under Allah. And from there, at the age of 7, I was recruited in the mosque, neighborhood mosque, which is, this is where recruitment takes place, and there in that mosque, I was recruited by a group called the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood is the mothership, of all terrorism, which is just UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia, and with the coalition with Saudi Arabia. With Egypt, they just declared the Muslim Brotherhood, Council of American Islamic Relation, ISNA, Muslim American Society. All these are radical terrorist organizations. And so, therefore, I was indoctrinated by them, and I was taught from my childhood what is our purpose in life and how we infiltrate the great Satan, which is the American civilization in the West. But America was the great Satan that we needed to penetrate and bring down. And if we bring her down, then the whole world of freedom will be brought down, because America is the only thing that's in between us and Islamic freedom. So Islamic freedom and American freedom are not the same. Everything calls for something totally different in our language.
Kamal, can I interrupt for 1 second, Kamal? This is Marc Jernigan. Your family's average, correct? Your family, you weren't born into a palace. Your parents weren't political people. You were common, normal people, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so your mom's not teaching this because she has some sort of political power to protect. This is just common teaching within the family unit of the country that you were born in, correct?
You're absolutely right. You see, Islam is only 14% religion. The rest of Islam, it's a total government, from civic to judicial to military to economic to everything else. So when you talk about Islam, it's the religion only the smallest part. The rest of it is a constitution.
It's a political machine, a government, a governmental organization, a system of governing people. Correct?
That's exactly right.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's a foundation. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Okay. You've been recruited by the Muslim Brotherhood at 7. What happened next?
Yes. Well, the Muslim Brotherhood, the whole group. Now, the Muslim Brotherhood, of course, it is an Islamic radical group. It's established bring about Ummah and bring about the Khalif and establish Sharia law worldwide. That's their purpose. But it is at war with all non-Muslim nations. So from there, the whole group joined the PLO, and I was 7 years old when I shot my first AK-47, and I was 7 years old when I crossed to Israel, carrying weapon caches, to rendezvous with the shepherds and give them all this weapons so they can commit terrorist act in Israel and kill Israeli and be killed.
Wow. What a story.
So how did you come to where you are now from that type of background?
Well, that's my life story, and that's why I wrote the book, because in this book, we are warning about the things to come. General Jerry Boykin and I were, just fierce enemy to one another, and we come from the opposite polar. If we had encountered each other, at any time, we would have killed each other, because we were on each other's dashboard. And but I was sent by the Saudis to the United States of America after the war in Tora Bora. As we started the war over there, we realized, I wrote my first, intelligence report, and I sent it to Saudi. I said, we're going to lose another war while America will win another war for Islam. I said, we are not committed. We have not given what the American given. These men are giving their life, their virtues, their finances, their military, and their blood, and their sacred honor for the, bunch of Afghanis. These people are mules. So therefore, but these people are willing to die for those mules, and we have not committed to do anything for them. I said, we will lose it. So they said, well, we'll go to the United States. My next move was to the United States of America to come here and do what I was doing.
We're talking with Kamal Saleem, who was recruited as a 7-year-old to be a terrorist, and now he is an ordained Christian minister and an American citizen here in the States, who has actually consulted with federal law enforcement agencies on terrorism and radical Islam. Explain to us is the difference between radical Islam and I guess your garden variety Islam. Is there a difference? Is Islam compatible with America?
Absolutely not. Islam is not compatible with America. We do not worship the same God. We do not have the same theology. We don't have the same, even though that Jesus Christ is mentioned in the Quran, even though that Moses is mentioned in the Quran, that in Islamic consideration, Jesus was only a prophet, and he was not, the Son of God, and doesn't have the deity. The rest of it, these prophets are Muslims. They are not Jews or Christians, according to the teaching of Islam. The rest of the Quran and the teaching of Islam, what happened, it teaches peace at the beginning, but then it has a doctrine. It's an obligation doctrine where everything changes from peace to radical, and that's by the command of Allah, the God of Islam. And he said, I have changed my mind that what I've given you before, it doesn't apply. So I needed to change now, Muhammad, from being a prophet to a warlord. I want you to change, and what I'm going to give you is I'm going to be the aggressor. So when you have Muslims out there, out in the open, we hear a lot of Muslims, like we have the ideology now that the American government tells us that Muslim Brotherhood are good people. They're moderate people. And the radical are Al Qaeda. It's on the contrary, it's not true. Al Qaeda came from Muslim Brotherhood. So how do you know the difference between the two? The difference between the two is when a Muslim wants to implement Sharia law in the United States of America, we know that they are radical. When they don't want to, we know that they want to be just an American citizen.
Okay, because and the fundamental reason that Islam isn't compatible with America. Sorry, Kamal. This is Marc Jernigan again. The fundamental reason is that Islam is a system. It's not just a religion, and America already has a system. We have a constitutional republic, right, John?
Right. Exactly.
Okay. So from a fundamental standpoint, it's not compatible. But can you do me a huge favor? I would really love to ask you a very difficult question, and I'm really hopeful you can answer. I would like to understand the concept of jihad. And my understanding of the concept of jihad is that every individual on the planet has struggles, and jihad is a concept of struggle, not of war. Am I wrong?
That's correct. And we need to understand that in Islam there's our 5 pillars, of Islam. What make Islam what it is today. But there's another pillar. It's a 6th pillar. It's the invisible pillar, and where Allah commanded all the Muslims to go into jihad. And then so there are different level of jihad. There is jihad, the struggle, that's only about 4% of all jihad. And self-struggle to become better Muslims. But then you have political jihad. Political jihad it's a war within itself to invade ideology, doctrine, demographic, different things on every level. But then you have also jihad of the womb, which is, when you invade a culture and you start seeding that culture and start populating and taking over. And then there's civilization jihad, which is you become into an area and you move, you build a mosque, Islamic center, and sooner or later this area become no-go zone for the people, the nation that you live in. That, this jihad will, now you build a state within a state. Then you have the 9/11 jihad, which is the jurisprudence. This is where all Muslims are commanded to kill and be killed, and so therefore it's in the Quran, it's in the Hadith. The Quran is a Muslim, the Muslim holy book. The Hadith is the traditions of Islam. But then when you look at all this, there are more. There's al-Kitman and al-Taqiyya. Al-Kitman is when a Muslim commended to lie to his enemy. In Islam, the Hadith by Muhammad says, al-Harb khud'a, meaning war is a deception. So to deceive your enemy, it is righteousness in Islam. So my mother told me, if you lie to advance Islamization, it's considered holiness and righteousness, because God will forgive you the lie for his own sake. These are the things that we need to understand, that all these doctrines are foreign to the American doctrines, because it's not in their their religious book or in their constitution books. You're taught here to be honest, to be good, free of tyranny, live equal, treat others like you be treated. Over there, it's not the same.
This is John Olinger. I have a question for you. It's kind of personal, but I mean, when you're raised at 7 years old, and Islam has to be a very deep-held belief. What's the step? How did the Spirit touch you and make you a Christian?
Well, it's more than that. When I came to the United States of America, and I had a commission. My commission is how to infiltrate. What's our concentration on, from your professors to your politicians, to your college students, to your poor neighborhood, and to your, jail system. These are, structured for us to recruit from those areas, to infiltrate those areas. And we're very successful. My predecessors came in the 60s. I came in the 80s, and now I'm moving into the United States of America. I'm doing what I'm doing, and America is sleeping. The light is on, but no one's home, and one day I had a car wreck. It was so severe I cracked my neck in 2 places, but in process I met 3 American men that they came to me, and they were Samaritan men, that you hear about, good Samaritans. They were Christian men. And when the orthopedic surgeon took me out of the hospital after I was discharged, and I lived in his home, I discovered for myself that their God and my God are not the same God. That's number one. They have unconditional love. I have very conditional love. You are my best wife today, and tomorrow if you dishonor me, I have the right to take your head off. You're my best friend. If you convert, I have the right to kill you. So, and in America is, was so different. So I was seeing all these new things. And then they had, Jewish friend, and I was seeing all this, that they are these really good people. Christian and Jews, after all, they are not the enemy. We had wrong perception. And, we have, we've been taught all this evil, which is not real. And so, as I was examining it too, I found out I'm the bad guy. I thought I was a liberator. I came to liberate you from your world. But I came here, and all of a sudden I found out I came to terrorize your world. And you are the people who are really, you have different perspective. So when I saw how the husband treats his wife and his children and vice versa, and these people forgave my debts in full, and they stood with me, and now I go to my home and I call my God, and my God doesn't answer, and and then when, I had an encounter with the living God, and so therefore I turned my life around and gave my life for him, and I stopped jihad, and I hid for several years, and I came back, to fight.
It's an amazing story. Talk to us about your book, sir, The Coalition.
The Coalition is a book written by General Jerry Boykin and myself. General Jerry Boykin have years of anti-terrorism, tactics. He was chasing people like me,
okay.
and all over the world. And myself and him, we came together, and after our literally agent, what he did is I had my biography, which is The Blood of Lambs, and he had his Never Surrender. We have the same literary agent, and he put us together. And me and him, we wrote about this. It is about that. Europe is falling to the Muslims. Middle East is totally now infiltrated by Islamization, and America is the last frontier. And what's happening behind the scene. So therefore, we brought all our true experiences. I spoke about my life verbatim, and General Jerry Boykin, who is one of the founder of Delta Force, he just wrote about what happened and how does it go and how it works and all together. So we put this to awake, America in such time as this, and teach and give them understanding, since our media is not revealing the truth anymore, and our politicians are speaking, are being sold for the highest bidder. So we thought we'd better put something out there that bring understanding to the people.
Now, this is something I'm hoping to get more into next segment, because we're coming up on a break very shortly. But what I'm really interested in hearing is exactly what are you doing to wake the sleeping giant, which is America, and how can we help?
Excellent. I will do that.
But if you want to briefly just give us an outline of that, we've got about a minute until break. But that's something I'd like to get into more. Just kind of tell us a little bit about how you get started in that process.
Well, it's really interesting. What took place is that 9/11, what took place, America never understood why 9/11 took place, and America hit the snooze button and went back to sleep. And the ideology today is to really bring fact, to wake people and help people to become strong on their own, so they can fight for their nation, children, the future of this, great nation that we live in, and how to be independent from this tyranny.
Okay. Yeah, though, one of the founding principles of America is self-reliance, individual responsibility, those kind of ideas. It's part of what we think on the show is what made America great, is that everybody was accountable to their family, everybody was accountable to themselves. But that was a time before the grocery store came around, and that was a time where if you didn't tend the garden or you didn't hit the deer, you weren't eating. It's a different world now, and
that's being attacked from all sides.
Correct, and I don't think the American public has any idea that Islam Islam is not just a religion; it's a system of government.
And we're talking with Kamal Saleem. He's written a book recently called The Coalition. You can find that at his website, coomministries.com. You can also find him on Twitter at Coom Ministries as well. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with him about how we can help in the fight against radical Islam here in America.
Truth, justice, and the American way. We are the voices of dissent.
And welcome back to the Voices of Dissent. We are broadcasting live from Fort Wayne, Indiana. And joining us via phone is Kamal Saleem. Kamal Saleem is the founder of Coom Ministries. You can find him at coomministries.com. He's recently written the book, The Coalition, with General Boykin, who was one of the creators of Delta Force. And we have just been honored to hear his story so far this morning. And Mr. Saleem, tell us a little bit about how we wake up the sleeping giant, which is America, to the threat of radical Islam within our borders today.
Well, we need to understand, Rumsfeld said it the best. Rumsfeld said, we're losing this battle because we are not focusing on who's the enemy. We have not called the enemy out. When his interview to CNN, he said we have failed to call the enemy out. He said when we dealt with the communists, we drew the picture, we created everything, and now what happened is we're aware of what we're fighting. But he said the last president from when you look at Bill Clinton to George W. Bush Jr. to our current president, they have allowed Islam infiltration, to our government, to our society, to our world, and they did not recognize the enemy. They, they allowed the enemy in. And now this president is championing a lot of the enemy activity, being with championing the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States of America. So we need to understand when we talk about this is for every civilization there is 7 spheres. There's spheres of influence. Our influence in the United States of America are the 7th sphere of family, education, militarily, government, and media and art and entertainment and and judicial. All these areas are very important to for our Constitution's survival. So what happened? Islam has been allowed to penetrate our 7 sphere of influence. When we talk about those influences, for example, the media. The media today, Prince Talal bin Abdulaziz is buying our medias. He is a Saudi prince. And he's from CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, including 16% of Fox News. But when we see what they're doing to our education, they are penetrating at the roots. They go into where the curriculum is written, and they are offering millions of dollars to be part of the curriculum writing and opening Islamic centers at universities, Ivy League universities. And now what happened, they are leading the writing of our curriculum. They change our history. Now they're saying America is founded by Islam. Now they're teaching about, Islam geographically and, engaging our children on every level where the children do not bring those homework at home. All of it is done at school. They're asking these children to do active, Islamic life activities. So what happened is they're moving through different fundamentals and changing our world. Same with art and entertainment. Judicial law, Sharia law has over 40, on 40 different times, where Sharia been used in our judicial system without our, judges knowing what's happening in our world. So we need to understand what made this nation is so great. It is our Constitution and our Bill of Rights, and all these stuff that, are given to us to stand with virtue and fight from understanding. And why America is so great, what is the purpose of America is, and all this stuff. So, and what happened, we are shrinking from our society. We are not learning about our America. We are learning about false understanding, and little by little, our forefathers have been attacked. and our world is being changed, and we are coming to a place where we have no idea where we're coming from or where we're going to. So in order to take our nation back, number one, we must understand the power of our enemy. What makes them so powerful? We must understand how they think and how they function and how they think. What's their theology? The Muslims don't want you to know what Sharia law is, because if you understand what Sharia law is, you'll see the million of American women marching on the street saying to Islam, get out of our nation. Look what happened in Japan. They would not allow them even to open a mosque or practice. They told them out. There's no Islam in here. If they told them, they said, if you want to live in our nation, you want to pray at your home. But there are, but we have a government that allowing all this invasion because it is part of socialism, socializing the culture. So, it's attacking the culture from Islamism, socialism, fascism, and Marxism, extremism, liberalism, socialism, secularism. All these are ism, and they have a power to infiltrate and control the culture. And this is what we're dealing with, where the president, instead of become part of the healing of the nation, create a problem in the nation so they can advance, in different way by separating the culture so it will be weakened. A divided house could not stand.
Kamal?
And so, yes.
Kamal, this is Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
I have a question for you, and it relates to the whole educational piece. And I've seen it happen in my own kids and their education, that the kind of message of Islam is penetrating through our schools. But my problem is, how do you wake up the adults? This has to be an adult fight before it's a youth fight, because our children are not equipped to really take it to their teachers and object. How do you wake up parents who have really ceded a lot of their authority and their just responsibility for the education of their children? How do you wake them up to the urgency of your message?
Well, here's what happened with me. When I was a little kid, Lebanon, we have a Christian government, but we have Muslim lives over there, so it was divided culture. But the indoctrination was taking place at home. Everything that was lack of teaching at school, it was being taught in our home. We got to be active with our children, and we got to be the teachers, the one who is leading the charge. We got to engage in all these things. I mean, when you look under a Christmas tree, every Christmas, you see how we're educating our children today. From the Xbox, the SpongeBob SquarePants, to different things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we are not giving them the healthy things, where we engage in them, challenge them with understanding, where we put them in a right perspective and tell them this is wrong, this is right, do this, do not do that. We stopped doing this because whatever would be will be. So number one, we need to understand what we're dealing with. We need to move to the forefront. 10 years ago, when I started talking about this, people were mocking me and making fun of me. Today, they're going like, what do we do with this? And we have an issue here. And that issue is, it's worth dying for. And that is the future of our children. And by saying so, every American man and woman, they need to understand what we're dealing with and learn with understanding how do we go from here. To be active, start, running for, sit on a school board, where we can affect our children's future. Start telling them, we like this study, we don't like this teaching. Start running the city council, where we allow policy and disable policies right there. We need to take our cities back, our towns back, our states back, and make the difference and start demanding for our children to learn true Constitution and focus on true, true Americanism, however you want to call it. What America, is made out of.
No. Kamal, you're on a friendly show. You can call it what we call it, American exceptionalism. Sorry, it's what we are on the show. We are American exceptionalists.
Don't be sorry.
Yeah, no, we are unabashed. Monroe started it with his doctrine, and we believe that we want to carry the flag. I mean, it's amazing. When you look around the globe and you realize as an American that the rest of the world used to think that our roads were paved with gold. That's just an amazing statement about your country. And welcome, and we encourage your fight. We're with you in the trenches. So when you came to the States, how long were you in the States as a jihadist? How long were you in the States carrying on your fight before the car wreck?
May I say something before I answer that?
Please, absolutely.
If you go all over the world today, you find graveyards. And in these graveyards, there are American men and women that they laid their life for this nation, for their different foreign nations. And they said, we came to set the captive free. These people fought at every front, from World War I to World War II to Korea to Vietnam to you name it. And they stood there not because they're greed, like what's in it for us, because they understood what freedom is all about. And they know if they fight tyranny anywhere and everywhere, then they will make the difference, and the world will be set free from all this nonsense. And our American men and women, the adults, the fathers and mothers, need to understand the exceptionalism of United States of America. Today, we are the breadbasket of the world. If America stopped from moving and its heartbeat of this nation stopped from happening, the whole world will be in a nightmare and a chaos. This is not a joking matter, because our religion taught us how to kill and how to intimidate and how to war. And when somebody like the United States of America said, not today, and they stand over there, we know that's real, because they know they're going to change things. But when we have somebody who's championing the fight out there of our cause and letting us go and do whatever you need to do, this is terrorism itself. So we need to understand, that what we're dealing with today, it's worth fighting for. And America is the nation that everybody's looking for and praying for. Don't stop. Keep going, because something's happening there.
Yeah.
We're talking with Kamal Saleem. He is the founder of Coom Ministries. You can find him at coomministries.com. He's also recently written the book, The Coalition, with General Jerry Boykin. I'm really interested to see, you went through this radical transformation in your life from hating America, wanting to destroy America, to being one of its greatest advocates. What you just said about American exceptionalism and about the men and women who have served this country and are in graveyards across the world is one of the best explanations I've heard about American freedom and liberty. How when you made that transformation, how did you leave your past world? How did your family treat you? How do you interact with your family today? What is it like going through that?
I was a prince at one time, my family, not literally as prince, but the title is how they treated me, because I was a warrior, I was a fighter for Allah and Islam. I was highly loved and revered. But then, you convert from Islam, and now you say, I'm no longer, Muslims. Now you are condemned to death. In Islam, Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, said, if a Muslim convert, kill him. Why? Because I'm not an infidel. I'm somebody who is an apostate who left Islam, and now what happened is that's a commandment to be killed. So when your family are aware of this and they are doing this, what happened is they put a fatwa on you. In Islam, they must do this. And what is fatwa? Is to ask, to condemn you to death, calling you out and going after you, to death. And this is what they're doing. So my best friend, my comrades, all those people that I fought with, all of them must do the same thing and must call for my death. To the point that my family and I, we constantly moving. One time they sent 4 men, Pakistanis. They were armed and looking for us, to take us out, not to love us, but to love us to death. And so this is a real thing, and it's happening in the United States of America. And now you have CARE, Council of American Islamic Relations, who is a terrorist organization, put our names, me and General Jerry Boykin and others, up front. They said, we are most wanted by the Muslim radicals, so they put our name out there so the lone wolf can go after us and kill us. This is how they deal with us.
Wow, that's an amazing. You've relocated your family multiple times, and the threat is real. You've been assaulted
here in America.
Here in America, it's real. That's amazing. I can't imagine pulling up my family and moving. And your story has a lot of impact on me because I have a 9-year-old. It's reminiscent of Troy, where you sent your kid off to military camp at 7 to learn how to become the army of one or whatever they wanted to become in Troy. It's reminiscent of that. It's eerie, and America is not aware of that at all. It's a disturbing problem as we move through the new century.
And we're talking with Kamal Saleem. He is the founder of Coom Ministries. He's just recently written a book called The Coalition, which you can find on Amazon.com or anywhere that good books are sold. You can also find him on Twitter at Coom Ministries. We'll be right back here on the Voices of Dissent. We'll talk with him more about the fight against tyranny here in America.
Truth, justice, and the American way. We are the voices of dissent.
And welcome back to the Voices of Dissent. This is Justin Mckinsey, joined by Marc Jernigan, Melissa Smith, and John Olinger. If you'd like to join the conversation, give us a call at 260-969-1250. That's 260-969-1250. Or you can listen to any of our past archived shows at voicesofdissent.net. You can also contact us there as well at thevoicesofdissent.net. We are excited to have Kamal Saleem still with us. He is the founder of Coom Ministries, and by request, I'll spell it on air for you. It's Koome, CoomMinistries.com. You can also find him at Twitter at Coom Ministries as well. He has written the book The Coalition, along with General Boykin. He's also written a previous book, The Blood of Lambs, which tells all about his background and transformation from radical Islam to Christianity. And something we talked a little bit about over the break, Kamal, is that mosques today in America are being used to train up new radical jihadists who want to destroy America. How does that recruitment actually occur, and how does it get past American government officials?
Well, that's an awesome question. Here's the difference: the church and the synagogue in the United States of America and the Muslim the Muslim mosque, temple, are not the same. They are not equal in what they do. One, they pray, and one, they do something different. For example,
hang on 1 second, Kamal. 1 second. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I really want to stick on that for 1 second, okay? Because you have hit on the fundamental problem that America has with Islam, is we as a people in America do not understand that Islam is a system, not a religion.
We believe all religions are equal.
Dude, we think it's a religion, and all religions are equal, and we protect religion in this country. Your right to go to a mosque or your right to go to a church is in our Bill of Rights. I mean, that's part of what we fundamentally believe. It's difficult for America to conceptualize that it's not about Islam as a religion, it's about Islam as the system, correct?
Correct. Absolutely. I love the Muslims. I love the Muslims. I want the Muslims to know the truth like I did. I want them to step down from their radical, move to become peaceful, because there are so much beauty and power in that peaceful place. But here's the things: you have radical and you have moderate. A lot of moderate in America. We have the majority are moderate, but the radical are the minority, but they are the most powerful. And this is what brings the mosque back in. Over 90% of the mosques in the United States of America are owned by either Wahhabi or Sufi monies, meaning radical Islam. These believe that they must establish Islamization and the caliphate and the Sharia law, which is Islamic constitution, in every nation in the world. So the mosque, what happened is, a mosque is an embassy. A mosque is it reports to the Islamic State. So when we have ISIS out there establishing Islamic State, and become the State of Islam. What happened? All those embassies become part of that nation. In Muslim world, you are Muslim first, and before you are citizen to your nation, whether you're American, French, or anything else. So loyalty of Islam is to Allah and not to nations. So the Muslim, the mosque play another part, which is a parliament. So what happened? The imam become like a senator. He would declare the law. And what happened? The people become a house representative. So they represent the law out there and they play it. So when you have a dogma like, al-taqiyya, which is, go ahead and lie to your enemy until you make them your slaves. This is being taught over there. The second part is a recruitment. This is where you take moderate Muslims that they have nothing to do with radical Islam. There you thrive on these young men and you convert them. For example, you look at Nolan in Oklahoma, Moore, Oklahoma. When he went to this grocery place, he was working on a distribution place, and he was doing, he was recruited in the jail system, and he was indoctrinated in a mosque outside of Oklahoma University, which is Radical Muslim Brotherhood Mosque. And so what happened is the next thing, he goes to work and he's doing dawah, which is, putting fear in people's heart and intimidating them to convert to Islam. And when they told him to stop that, he refused, so they fired him. The next thing, he goes to his car, he brings his big knife, and he starts stabbing this woman multitude of times, over 50 years old, and then he sits on her chest and he takes her head off with his knife. Why? Because he commanded to do this. You refuse. If you don't accept Islam, then I must kill you. This is the commandment in, teaching, while moderate people do not believe, moderate Muslims do not believe in this, but true jurisprudence, Islam believe in this. And then he was doing the same thing to the second one, and then his boss shot him. Thank God for the Bills of Rights, Second Amendment.
Thank God for the Bill of Rights, correct?
Yes.
Nothing stops a bad guy with a gun like a good guy with a gun. That's
right.
Okay, so hang on, because so as an American, I believe I believe that all Muslims are good people because of the religious side of the component side of my conceptualization of the world. You're telling me that my concept of the world is not matching up with reality.
Well, here's something very important. If I say peace and I'm a Muslim, I'm a radical Muslim, and I'm crying out, I want peace, and you're American and you're crying out, you want peace, we need to judge that. You are lawyers, you work in law. The difference between fundamental peace is two different things. One is free from tyranny. One is tyranny, led, peace. One is free from all Christians and Jews and non-believers.
No,
other one is.
You just turned the table on me, sir. I'm not confrontational with you. I don't mean it like that. I mean it as in you just turned the table on me. You just told me that my concept of peace and a radical Muslim's concept of peace, they're not the same. They're not going to match. It's very difficult for me to, as an American, to understand that concept doesn't match up with reality. Furthermore, you told me that if I'm a radical Islam is 100% okay to lie to me. So he could stand there and say, hey, I want peace, but that may not be what he means. And it's
Absolutely.
And it's completely okay.
Absolutely. We are faced, here with the new brand of giants. And these giants are marching in to demand their way of life, their way of. I mean, if you want to know where we are today, look at England. I mean, where we will be in 5 years from today, look at the United Kingdom. What happened? They allowed Sharia law over there. Now the Muslims have over 52 states over there, no-go zones. The English could not enter those. They are a totally Islamic state, and they are, they're led by Sharia law. The Muslims are calling for Islamic ruling. They don't want the English, and they are running in the street, and anytime they tell them anything, to do or not to do, they stop working, and they're the majority of low labor, and they paralyze the nation. They intimidate to the point they had soldiers on the street, and you see something like this, and you bomb the buses, you intimidate the culture.
Yeah.
America will be facing this if we don't realize that we are dealing here with something really, dangerous.
100 years ago, they called that the Irish.
Yeah. Well, is this what prompted the Prime Minister of Great Britain to announce maybe 18 months ago that multiculturalism had failed? I mean, that's the situation that you're describing, Kamal. It's the concept of multiculturalism has failed, certainly in England and most of Europe. And
well, look at Denmark.
Right.
Denmark, they changed
France.
their constitution earlier this year. They changed the constitution.
That's unbelievable.
For this reason.
But that's the concept of America that well, and I say this with a little bit of tongue in cheek, but that's the concept of America with the Constitution is you're gonna have to pass a high hurdle to get through a constitutional amendment in the United States right now. I think it would be a very for any alteration to the document, it would be very difficult for anybody to get anything passed at this point.
So are we as Americans in our future going to go send troops to bail out Europe yet again?
Well, I think the question really is, sir, can this situation be resolved peacefully? I mean, I told you before we came on the air that one of the show's concept is peace is patriotic, but there's only one way I know to handle a schoolyard bully.
Right.
I mean, you punch him in the mouth. And I don't mean, sir, I don't mean that, but I mean that's. Is there a peaceful resolution to this? I mean, I understand we can get elected to school boards and things like that, but I mean, at the end of the day, do we have to vote with a rifle?
I'll tell you what, you're dealing here with extremism. So every extreme require another extreme.
Extreme.
That's the physics law. I know that if I go, my enemy are shooting at me, and I just tell them, "Listen, I love you guys. Don't do this. It's not good." They're gonna shoot me at the end of the day. But if I let them know that I'm standing there, and if they cross the line, I'm gonna take them out. Then what happened is, and I'm not saying we should kill the Muslims here in the United States of America. No, we should go and fight ISIS head on. Because if we don't fight them over there, they're going to be in our neighborhood, and they are in our neighborhood, to the point that you see the American government telling all our soldiers, the great American military soldiers, take your name off Facebook, off the websites, because ISIS is going to kill you. I'm going like, well, I have a solution for this. Let's meet them over there. This is a genocide, the greatest genocide that is taking place today, and we're seeing these people becoming more radical, meaning if we don't stand to them, we're going to say to them, we're afraid of you, and we're allowing you to get away with murder. I mean, they are killing hundreds of thousands of people over there, Christians, non-Muslims, beheading, crucifixion, burning them, raping them, enslaving their women, doing, Islamic extremism, taking their properties, their home, their monies. This is not just like, loving me softly. This is about hostile takeover, and we're going to replace you. Look what Turkey did, the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, our staunchest ally in the Middle East, other than Israel, our staunchest Islamic ally, Muslim ally, absolutely. Okay, so one of the defenses that I've always had about George Bush's war in Iraq was that it was always better to fight the Muslim extremists in the city of Fallujah than in the city of Chicago.
That's right.
I mean, I tend to agree with you that these guys are bad guys. It's just I don't know that. For the first time in the history of the United States of America, certainly that I know of, we are sitting on the sidelines while a catastrophe is unfolding in front of us, and we sit on the sidelines. And I sense your frustration with that.
Well, it says, we championed the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring, we didn't know what it was, and all of a sudden our government has championed that, and they want to start invading different states. We took many of the leaders that they were holding this nightmare from happening, and they were dealing with it aggressively. These are their own leaders, and so now we brought these leaders down, and now this nightmare is loose to the point that they attacked our embassies, killed our man over there on the street after we were trying to, we helped them to take over their nation and become a sovereign nation. And so what happened is we are doing the bid of the enemy. In Annandale, Virginia, what happened in the shadow of the White House, there's an imam. His name is Ibrahim al-Abrasi. Ibrahim al-Abrasi, he was found terrorist, and when they invade his home, they found a sub-basement in his basement, and they found a manifesto. This is, you can find it online. It's called the Holy Land Foundation Trial. In the manifesto is the Muslim Brotherhood in America, the invasion to this nation, how they can take it down, strategy, step by step. And the ultimate goal, the heart of this whole thing, is they're going to destroy this nation by the hand of the American people and the hand of the Islamists. So we need to know that, number one, we are fighting, Muslim Brotherhood is at war with us. This is the radical Islam. Not all Muslims, but radical Islam. They are here and they're fighting. And then they are going after our children in university, colleges, and different places, and they are turning the tide around and they face us head on. And these people are investing their petrodollar money that we invest here in the United States of America to change our world, by destroying it from within. So therefore, this is what we're looking at, is these people are not taking no for an answer unless we say no to them.
We're speaking with Kamal Saleem, founder of CoomMinistries.com. He's also written the book, The Coalition and the Blood of Lambs. You can find him at CoomMinistries.com. Tell us real briefly, Kamal, about your ministry, Coom, the Arabic word, what it means, and what you're trying to do.
Coom means arise, and the reason why I called it arise is when I had an encounter with Jesus Christ, just like millions of Muslims, 6 million Muslims every year have an encounter with Christ. I was healed physically and spiritually and emotionally. And so therefore, when I rose up, I knew that I must step to the forefront. I knew that I must make the difference. I knew that rising up is not to go somewhere and take a vacation. It's to go take it to heart and make the difference.
That is fantastic, Kamal. Thank you so much for spending the past hour with us this morning. We've loved having you on. We hope to have you on again. This has been Kamal Saleem. He has written the book, The Coalition. Look it up today. Find him at CoomMinistries.com. That's Koome Ministries.com. Thank you so much, sir.
Look forward to serving you again.
You have a great Saturday, and we'll be right back here on the Voices of Dissent.